Good evening, universe, and welcome to the premiere episode of Film Examiner. I am your host, Character King Kingsley Martin. I, Apple Guy Kingsley. What's up? Tonight I'm going to examine the film This Is the End, starring Seth Rogan, Jay Burachel, James Franco, Jonah Hill, Craig Robinson, with special appearances from Danny McBride and Harry Potter. Emma Watson. So, let's start off with a basic overall concept. It's the apocalypse, and these successful Hollywood players have to deal with it. Yes, indeed, the actors in the film go by their true names, and while they play to the far end comical side of their personalities, it's done very well, and they're all very distinctive characters that are really showcased well in this. The sort of breakdown of the story, the setup, let's call it that, the setup, which is really what I'll give you for the most part, with a few tidbits of the film, is that Seth Rogan picks up his friend, Jay Burachel, at the airport and is going to take him to this party. Jay is very resistant. He doesn't want to go to this party. He essentially plays it as though he thinks he's above these people and really doesn't fit in with them. So he really just wants to hang out with Seth and spend time with him. He really doesn't want to be around Franco or Hill or, Robinson. He really is just not interested in that Hollywood sort of party scene. They go to this party anyway, and while Jay does try at times to fit in, and people try to make him fit in, he really doesn't want to do. He really resists it and almost pushes people away with the way he handles things. Finally, at one point, he and Seth go to the local drugstore to pick up some cigarettes, and suddenly all hell breaks loose while they're there. They finally get back to the house. A lot of people have been wiped out because of the apocalypse, and these 5 remaining friends, sort of estranged friends, Rogan, Burachel, Franco, Hill, Robinson, and McBride, all are in this house trying to figure out how to survive the apocalypse and figure out what's really going on. Is it the apocalypse? Whatever. So that's the basic story, and as they go along, some are redeemed, some are not. It's sort of a feel-good, what's in your true heart, purity sort of exploration with a very comical twist. The story, I think, is fairly well done. It's an old concept of the apocalypse, but you place it with all these famous actors, and you show some twists on it. The story concept overall is really strong, I think. I don't think, it's not the perfect story. It's a very timeless story, though. What would you do during the apocalypse? And it's very, relevant right now because there's so many things that are dealing with, post-apocalyptic stuff. We have zombies for the most part, and zombies are really not in this film. It's discussed. It's primarily loosely based on the biblical aspects of the rapture. So that's really what it's about. It's very relevant, though. I mean, a lot of people have been, we've been seeing The Killing, we've been seeing this, we've been seeing that. The Walking Dead is huge right now. So anything sort of post-apocalyptic, or post-apocalypse, or apocalypse, or whatever you want to phrase it as, is very relevant right now because people are just really eating that up. So it's very cool in that way, especially if you're into that kind of stuff. The cast is super strong. I mean, super strong. I gained so much more respect for a lot of these actors as a result of seeing this. Specifically, I gained a lot of respect for Seth Rogan, who in a lot of his films, find him to be obnoxious, and in this film, it totally started to change my mind about Seth Rogan, because he doesn't play it for laughs. He doesn't play it for the silliness of it. This is the first time in anything I've seen him in, and I don't proclaim to have seen Seth Rogan in everything. The things I have seen I haven't been terribly impressed by. But in this particular film, he plays it very straight, and as a result of it, not only does he come across as funny, but he also comes across as very sincere and very interesting to watch. He makes his character in the film makes some really good choices, and his performance as that character really make him shine in a lot of ways. My other favorite character in the movie, and I liked all of them, do not get me wrong, I think all of them were very strong, all of their personalities were very distinctive. It was easy to distinguish one from the other. Aside from Seth Rogan, though, my other favorite actor in this film was Craig Robinson. He had the delivery, his delivery to some of the lines he had that were really supposed to be sort of straight lines. He said them in a way that just made them funny. He said, the two lines that come to mind right now is one when he says, fuck your house, James, and then he says, we're actors, we're as soft as baby shit. So the way they interact in this story is really solid. I was really impressed with the way they all played their characters, even though I'm sure it was, like I said, it was loosely based on their real personalities in life. Great guest appearances or brief sort of cameos from Emma Watson. Danny McBride, with his sort of short stint in the film, does a great job. He really plays the big jerk of the film really well, though. Jonah Hill plays this guy who's nice to everybody and real sweet, but underneath has really a dark side to him. Craig Robinson plays this sort of cool guy who underneath has his own, issues with, strength. Emotionally he doesn't have as much courage. He's almost like a cowardly lion in a way. Really well done, though. Seth Rogan is just this guy who really, in the way he plays his role, he's just this guy who has this group of friends. He's 5 friends, minus McBride and Emma Watson. So all the other 4 principals along with him. Hill, Franco, Burachel, and Robinson, and he really just wants them all to connect and get along. He really wants to be a group with them. And in a way, he's the one who continues to try and keep them together as a group. And Jay Burachel's character is just sort of, like I said before, he just thinks he's really above these people and almost has a superiority complex. So, all very distinctive characters, very strongly played. The script writing in this, I am sure there was a lot of improv in this film, and whatever was not improv, it was written. I'm telling you, it was written really well. I think, there's a few lines here and there that could have probably been improved. For the most part, though, I thought it was really well written with what they did. And the other thing I liked about this script a lot, and it was a 50-50 of crass and then just simple comedy. What I mean by simple comedy is they didn't always go to sex or drugs or anything like that all the time. Sometimes the greatest comedy was arguments over food, like a Milky Way. I mean, this was amazing product placement for Milky Way. I'm sure Mars is, ecstatic. They argued over simple things, though. It didn't always have to be dirty, filthy stuff. Yes, they got into a few of those things. Don't get me wrong. There's a point where these 6 guys are sitting around talking about Emma Watson being the one female there with them, and it goes a little bit extreme. For the most part, though, they really had a 50-50 balance of sort of clean and sort of, honest comedy versus sort of pushed, sort of, raunchy comedy. So I think for the most part they did a pretty good job with it in the script writing, and the dialogue was really well written. Like I said, there was a lot of improv that happened in this film. Anything outside of that kept the story moving forward in the script, and that was really well done. And sort of their finalities in the story are really interesting. Fatalities? You see the film, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So, very well done. The direction, I think, overall, with what the director had to work with, and of course I don't know his name. Bad of me. I'll look it up. The director did a really good job, too. Really, for the most part, I think he did a really strong job. The only thing I was not as impressed with in this film was the CGI. There was some really bad CGI. In a way, some of the CGI stuff made it look a little bit like a very high-budget student film. I think they could have done a little bit better with CGI stuff. In a way, though, it kind of contributed to the, ludicrous nature of the comedy. I don't think ludicrosity is a word. I'd just be making up words that Marion would never approve. but the ridiculousness it added to the ridiculousness of the story. Still, the actors and the way the story moved along kind of distracted you from some of it. So I wasn't as annoyed by it. The music in this film, it had a nice mixture of music, and while some of the music wasn't really for me, some of it really was a throwback. I mean, in ways, it was a mix of contemporary and sort of old school stuff. There was some Ozzy in it. There's an homage to Whitney Houston at the very end of the film, which is just outstanding. And in the moment they use it, and it was better than the first time they ever used this song in a movie. I think it was better in this movie than it was in that one, and you'll know once you've seen the movie. So the music overall, I think, was fairly strong. Some songs, like I said, I didn't adapt to it, so the rating for that will go down a little bit just because some of the music I wasn't a big fan of. But for the most part, despite the fact that I didn't like a few of the songs, I think the soundtrack was very strong for this film. So I applaud them for the soundtrack. Costumes, really, I thought it was very well done for the costumes. I think that going back to the direction a little bit, I think the director could have tried to do a little more light in certain areas and a little more dark in certain areas. I'm talking about lighting and sort of the shooting of the picture. I think we could have seen the light a little bit more so that we could appreciate the light and appreciate the moments were dark. So it wasn't just always sort of dark. The way that they lightened the mood was by mood. The way they performed it, I think that the literal scene could have been a little brighter in certain spots and then darker in certain spots to sort of emphasize it. For the most part, though, like I said, he guided the story along really well as a director. So I approve of that. Overall, let's just talk story. Story concept, really strong. I'll give it a 4. In the same spirit, the script, I'm going to give the script a 4. The performances, I'm going to give that a 4.5 because I think they did a great job. The actors did a fantastic job for the most part. There was a few, moments there, but not with the principals. The principals were strong. It was sort of more the addition of talent that I think could have done a little bit better of a job. The direction, I'm going to give that a 4 because I think that was pretty strong overall. The music, I'm going to give that a 3.75 just because it wasn't as good as it could have been for me. Overall, though, very strong. Even a 3.75 is a good rating for it. And then the scenery, the sort of set design and CGI aspects, I think that would call that more of a 3.5 or 3 because it just could have been done a little bit better. But maybe that was the point of it. But overall, it took me a little bit out of it. Fortunately, I had great actors with great dialogue that brought me right back into it. So CGI could have been a little better. That's definitely my lowest rating. So overall, my examination is that this film is really a 3.5, 3.75. We'll go towards 3.75. I think it deserves that. So let's just say 3.75 for this film. Overall, not a bad rating at all. To me, 2.5 is mediocre. This movie is definitely in the very good category, but not the superior or excellent or superior, whatever you want to qualify as better. When I was in, elementary competitions for theater, it was excellent and then superior. So that's why I said that. Definitely a very good film, though. Highly recommend you check it out if you get a chance. And you will not be bored in this film. If you like comedies and you can appreciate it and you won't get caught up on the religious sort of, concept of really what the apocalypse is supposed to be, and you can enjoy the loose sort of approach to it, and it has a lot of heart to it. Very good performances by everyone. Really impressed by Seth Rogan and Craig Robinson in this picture, though. James Franco also stood out in the way. I mean, just everybody did a great job. I mean, everybody in this cast did a really good job in the principal roles. Like I said, a few of the, smaller roles could have been improved upon. Great film, though. Go check it out. That is my examination of This Is the End. Thank you so much for watching. If you have your own opinion of this film, please feel free to leave a video response below or leave a comment. Tell me what you think of my examination of the film. And I will see you next time. Live with passion and take care of yourselves. This is Character King Kingsley Martin, and I'm out.